So the first thing we're going to do is paint the sky. So you need to pick up some color. We're going to learn how to do wet on wet painting. I like to have the top dark. Okay, so I'm going to use this crimson. This is a cool red. And I'm using a flat brush. It'll work with a round brush as well. But I like the flat brush when I paint the sky because it goes on easier. Okay, then as you paint, you can just pick up other colors. Like here's the cadmium red, or I can pick up some orange, and I want to mix the orange in there. I want to have it get lighter as it gets closer to the horizon. So maybe pick up some medium yellow. Do you see how it's mixing into the wet paint? That's why it's called wet on wet painting. We want to have this smooth and even, so I keep my brush going back and forth. Okay. I want to paint up to that mountain line. If I go over it, that's okay. Nothing is too exact in this painting. At this point, I think I want to wash out my brush after I do a couple more brush strokes, even this all out. Okay, because I want to start to put in some yellow, and I have too much red in my brush. So I'm going to wash my brush out. Okay, I'm going to dry my brush off because I don't want too much water. If I have too much water in my paint, it'll get too thin. It'll be like watercolor. Okay, so I want my yellow here, and maybe pick up some of that lemon yellow. Lemon yellow is the yellow you use for your color wheel. Okay, and then I'm going to blend these two together, just like that, brushing back and forth. See? So when I brush back and forth, I really only want the tip of the brush touching. I don't want to push too hard. Otherwise, I'll get these brush marks. I have to wipe out my brush again because I picked up a lot of red. Okay, and I want to get some more lemon yellow, put it right here. Okay, because I'm creating a sunset sky. Now if you have more yellow, you have more orange, that's okay. If you want, you could even put a little blue at the very top. You want to get a little blue and just kind of mix it in. What it will do is make it purple. Okay. So everybody's sky will look slightly different depending on what they want it to look like. I'm just going to do the corners. So you have to do this while the paint is wet. Once the paint dries, I can't go back and try to blend all these colors together. And I also can't dip my brush into water and blend it all together. So this is why it's important to get this sky done all at one time. Okay. Next thing I want to do is paint my clouds. Okay. So do you see how I'm always drying off this brush? I really don't want a whole lot of water in there. Okay, I'm going to just get some white, and I'm going to make kind of like just little rainbow shapes, okay, for my clouds. And then once I get my rainbow shapes, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to blend this into the sky. Just like that. Okay? Very, very softly, barely touching that canvas. This will work with a small brush, it'll work with a round brush. Okay. Then I want to go back, and I want to add more white. I'm almost using the corner of this brush rather than flat. Okay. Go back, maybe I want a cloud here. I'm always blending in this bottom of the cloud into the sky. You can add the clouds wherever you want. It's really up to you. If you want to add the sun, all you have to do is just paint it in. You can also put the sun behind a cloud. It's really up to you. Okay, you can add the sun right here at the horizon line. Just a little semicircle. Okay. Or, I'm going to push it out. Or you can add it behind a cloud. If you want to have the sun, let's say, right here. I'm going to paint a circle for my sun. To get it more solid, I'm going to have to wait a little while. Painting the afternoon beach scene. So we're going to start with the sky first. You are going to take the dark blue, put it at the top. I'm using a flat brush so that I can get more coverage. Again, just like the sunset painting, we are going to do wet on wet painting. I want to get right on this edge, so that's why I'm lifting up my painting like this so that I don't get paint on the table. Okay, have some blue on there. Now I'm going to pick up the cobalt blue, mix that right in. So the dark blue is called ultramarine blue. This medium blue is called cobalt blue. Okay, just back and forth. I can add a little white. It's really white, okay. Okay, if I want to lighten up my sky. Typically, the sky gets lighter towards the horizon. So right near the horizon, I want this to be the lightest spot. I'm going to paint right over my tree. Blend this all in so it's nice and even. I'm going to wash out my brush. I'm actually picking up a smaller brush. Okay, I'm going to dry it off because I don't want a whole lot of water on there. I'm going to pick up white to make clouds. So just like in the sunset painting. Okay, I'm going to make semicircles with my brush to start off my clouds. And then at the bottom of these semicircles, I'm going to start making horizontal strokes, just back and forth, blending it in. You can add streaks of clouds wherever you want. Some don't have to be super defined. Others can be more defined. Up to you. If you want to add the sun in, that's fine. It's a little bit tricky. Because it'll be this one really bright spot. So normally people don't put in the sun unless you have it peeking out behind a cloud.